What's up, man? It's your boy Ray. We back with another episode of the Biblical Blueprint. I just want to take this time to just, pray over this video and pray for anybody who's listening or watching to this video. And I pray that this video blesses you and it helps you with whatever you're going through in your life. So today in the Biblical Blueprint, we're going to be talking about envy. You know what I'm saying? This is the great chapter about envy, and we're once again, the Biblical Blueprint, the main goal behind this whole series is that I am going to go chapter by chapter, verse by verse of the Bible, through the Bible, to illustrate that this is the instructional manual to life, and it can pretty much help you out with any situation that you're dealing with within life. As a life and business coach, this is what my goal is, and this is what I'm trying to illustrate, with my teachings. I want to, show you how the Bible can help you out with any aspect in life, but also how it can help you out with business. If you want to learn more, go to my website, raylo.tv, where you can learn more about what I do, and, contact me and I can help you out with anything that you want help with. But let's go ahead and let's get into this. We're breaking it down. We're going through, once again, chapter by chapter, verse by verse. We're at chapter 4 of Genesis. So let's go ahead and just get into the scripture, all right?
Adam had sexual relations with his wife Eve. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Cain.
With the Lord's help, I have made a man.
Eve gave birth again to Cain's brother Abel. Abel became a shepherd, and Cain became a farmer. At harvest time, Cain brought a gift to the Lord. He brought some of the food that he grew from the ground, but Abel brought some animals from his flock. He chose some of his best sheep and brought the best parts from them. The Lord accepted Abel and his gift, but he did not accept Cain and his offering. Cain was sad because of this, and he became very angry.
Why are you angry? Why does your face look sad? You know that if you do what is right, I will accept you. But if you don't, sin is ready to attack you. That sin will want to control you, but you must control it.
Let's go out to the field.
So they went to the field. Then Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him.
Where is your brother Abel?
I don't know. Is it my job to watch over my brother?
What have you done? You killed your brother, and the ground opened up to take his blood from your hands. Now his blood is shouting to me from the ground. So you will be cursed from this ground. Now when you work the soil, the ground will not help your plants grow. You will not have a home in this land. You will wander from place to place.
This punishment is more than I can bear. You are forcing me to leave the land, and I will not be able to be near you or have a home. Now I must wander from place to place, and anyone I meet could kill me.
No, if anyone kills you, I will punish that person much, much more.
Then the Lord put a mark on Cain to show that no one should kill him. Cain went away from the Lord and lived in the land of Nod. Cain had sexual relations with his wife. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son named Enoch. Cain built a city and gave the city the same name as his son Enoch. Enoch had a son named Irad. Irad had a son named Mehujael. Mehujael had a son named Methushael. And Methushael had a son named Lamech. Lamech married 2 women. One wife was named Ada, and the other was named Zillah. Ada gave birth to Jabal. Jabal was the father of people who live in tents and earn their living by keeping cattle. Jabal was Jubal's brother. Jubal was the father of people who play the harp and flute. Zillah gave birth to Tubal-Cain. Tubal-Cain was the father of people who work with bronze and iron. The sister of Tubal-Cain was named Naamah.
Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. You wives of Lamech, listen to me. A man hurt me, so I killed him. I even killed a child for hitting me. The punishment for killing Cain was very bad, but the punishment for killing me will be many times worse.
Adam again had sexual relations with his wife, and she gave birth to another son. She named him Seth.
God has given me another son. Cain killed Abel, but now I have Seth.
Seth also had a son. He named him Enosh. At that time, people began to pray to the Lord.
Pretty much the scripture is breaking down the story of Cain and Abel. You know what I'm saying? You see where Cain and Abel were birthed. And then you see that one was a farmer and one was a shepherd. And pretty much they were giving offerings to God. Back in these times, they were in direct contact with God. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like they were just seeing God at any point in time. You know, God would just pull up and start talking to them. So, you know, they would give the offerings, and pretty much God was explaining to Cain that he was not fond of the offering that he was giving him. And the key verse in here is that God kind of warns him. He says, if you do what is right, you will be accepted. But if you don't do what is right, sin is ready to attack you. That sin will want to control you, but you must control it. And that's one of the things I think we're always dealing with in life. One of the reasons I really am making this series for is to kind of show you that you can kind of control any temptation that you may come across. I understand that some things in this world right now, we have gotten to a point where, you know, we just accept certain sin. We just accept certain behaviors. And that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? If you want to hold yourself to a high standard, you know what I'm saying? You want to hold yourself to a standard where you can control pretty much anything. And God is kind of breaking it down where he's telling even Cain back in early days that you can control this sin. But one of the things that happens is that Cain falls short. And he falls short pretty much to envy. There's a difference between jealousy and envy. It all started from a root of comparison. He's comparing like what Abel was doing compared to him. And that kind of sparked it to where it turns into envy, right? There's a difference between jealousy and envy. Jealousy is more of like you just want what somebody has and you just like them because of it. Envy just takes it a step further to where you actually try to displace somebody from what they have and make it yours. And that's pretty much what happened. Like Cain ended up taking his life, taking his own brother's life. And what we're seeing is that, you know, it is, you know, he gets a warning from God and he doesn't heed the warning. But also, you know, just as humans, like, we're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? And God knows that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like one of the earliest sins recorded from man, you know? You know, there's a lot of themes within this chapter. Of course, there's your heart behind worship. You know what I'm saying? God just really values your obedience. Anytime you're doing any type of worship or anytime you're offering anything or just doing anything, you know, to please God, it's just more of like the thought that counts. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of the things you should never compare what you're offering compared to other people's offering. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's sincere. You know what I'm saying? You know, another theme is just, we're talking about envy. You know what I'm saying? Envy is just a really, 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 really big thing that kind of takes people down. And we're seeing where his unchecked emotions caused him to kill his own brother. You know, the thing that really kind of threw him off was that first he wasn't trying to take responsibility. He, like, I don't know what it is, and I think that's always a good. I'm always gonna point this out because it's like it's almost like they were in contact with God. They're talking to God, and God pulls up, and he's like, "Where's your brother?" And he's like, "I'm my brother's keeper." And it's like, bro, you know, I can see you. Like, I can see everything. I created you. I'm God. And it's like, you trying to lie to me. Don't, like, there's certain, like, you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to God. And that's one of the things I'm saying. It's just take your responsibility. Take responsibility of your action. And also, one thing that we also see is that God gave mercy within his judgment. He told him, because he was scared. And one of the things that I love reading the Bible, because even though like you're seeing that God created man, there's other beings out there besides Adam and Eve. Because he said, when I go out there, somebody might kill me, right? So it kind of makes you think like, what else is out there? And God just gives him a pretty much a assurance that if anybody does anything to you, their punishment will be worse. You know what I'm saying? And he marks him to where nobody is to kill him when he goes out into the wilderness, and once he's banished from where he was at. It's just it's a beauty into this whole mystery. Once again, like the main point of this whole thing is that true worship isn't about the size of your offering or anything. It's just about the sincerity. And then also it's just like staying away from the comparisons. If I can give you any type of point or any type of, how can I say, just any type of tip to stay away from envy, is to not compare yourself to nobody. You are your own person. And it doesn't matter if you're doing more than a certain person or you're doing less than a certain person. Always just focus on what you're doing and how you can be better. If you're going to compare somebody, you should take it as motivation. You should never take it as something to belittle yourself or something to praise this person, but to belittle yourself, because it will always create some type of envy or jealousy to where you're going to make an unethical action. And that's where I see in this world, like a lot of people make unethical actions because they're trying to compare to somebody else and trying to get like somebody else, where it's just like, just try to be the best that you can possibly be. All right. Once again, I like to break these videos up. We're going to start off with just life, and then we're going to slowly transition into business. Once again, I am a life and business coach, and my goal is to help you out within life and build a better life for yourself. But then also, I feel like we need more entrepreneurs out here. And as a avid entrepreneur, I've learned a lot of tips and tricks along the way, especially within digital marketing, especially with doing business taxes, with just starting, like incorporating business and everything. I've learned a lot of tips and tricks along the way that where I kind of noticed where other people who are in like kind of like a business mentorship lane, they're not able to tell you. A lot of times it's a waste of time. I'm telling you that I am not a waste of time. I can help you with pretty much anything. And, if you have any questions, go to my website, raylo.tv, and, contact me. And, hey, let's talk about it and let me see what I can help you with. One of the key things that we're going to talk about, and let's make our little business tie into this, right? Saying with entrepreneurship, you're always going to try to compare yourselves. You have to actually compare yourselves, right? You have to compare yourselves as far as like sales. You have to do market research pretty much, right? But the whole thing about doing market research is that you have to realize that what we're trying to build here now is we're trying to build purposeful businesses. You know what I'm saying? We're doing it for a purpose. We're doing this for a reason. Our reasons may not be for the same reasons that other people are doing it. We're not doing things purely for money, even though, yes, you want to make as much money as possible when you have a business, right? But you want to make it to where your business is affecting as many people as possible. A lot of times when you run into the biggest businesses out there, like let's just take Apple for as an example, right? He wasn't, even though it was about money, never take it away. It's always about money. But, the founder, Steve Jobs, was always just talking about innovating. He just wanted to innovate. He wanted to innovate for people and create more innovative products that just push humanity forward, You know what I'm saying? And that was his purpose. You know what I'm saying? He did so much within the small time frame that he was here to where it's still affecting us. You know what I'm saying? It's like really Apple has not like really, how can I say, it hasn't really innovated past what Steve Jobs had already created for them. You know what I'm saying? And that you could just see that was just a person where he is pushing forward in his business with a purpose, and you want to come and help find a purpose for your business, wherever it is. Just think about the purpose. Don't just think about the end results, which is the money aspect of it, because the money can come, but when you have a purpose behind it, you actually have more of a foundation of why you're doing it and what you're doing it for. There's a lot of applications that you can kind of add into this as far as like applying it to your business, right? Like when you're conducting business, you want to think about your spiritual aspects of this. You know what I'm saying? You want to guard yourself from envy and resentment. Just because you're starting and somebody else is already balling, doing whatever you're doing, do not compare yourself or be resentful that maybe you feel like you started late. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe that things ain't moving as quickly as the other person is. Don't worry about what other people is doing. It's great to have market research, but just realize that at any point in time where you're starting, you can actually catch up to whoever, or as long as you're doing something purposeful, it like the money will never ever matter. What will really matter is how many people that you're doing good work for. You know what I'm saying? Also, like on a personal level, you always want to take responsibility for your choices. Never try to put it off, like pass the buck on other people or blame every other people. You know what I'm saying? Always boss up and take responsibility as a boss. That's just what it is when it's a bit. You got to pay the cost to be the boss. At the end of the day, if your employee does something, the employee doesn't get sued. Usually the company gets sued. So you always have to be ready to take responsibility for any action that happens within your business. And then also don't let your emotions dictate your actions. You know what I'm saying? I see it all the time where, man, working with certain people where it's just like they can't control their emotions, where it's like you'll have this great staff, but you can't control your emotions and you end up losing half your staff. Or you can't control your emotions and now some of these customers don't like you no more because it's like they liked your product and your service, but once they met you, they don't like it anymore. And now you're losing customers. We see tons of people just lose fortunes based off of not controlling their emotions. So one of the key things that I'm trying to tell you is just in a realm of just jealousy and envy, resentment and comparison, control your emotions. Don't even try to compare yourself to even go down that road where you will start having negative feelings about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And just be practical. You want to actually create routines and create a focus that makes it to where you're not distracted and you honor God with everything that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? As long as you feel like what you're doing is honoring God, because like I said, I'm trying to help build more entrepreneurs out here. And I'm trying to build more entrepreneurs that don't have to compromise themselves. One of the biggest things that we got out here, and I'm just going to talk about it from a young woman perspective, right? I ain't even going to say it's just young women. It's men that do it too. We have OnlyFans out here. And you can look at OnlyFans. You can actually use OnlyFans to do a whole bunch of things besides what you see on OnlyFans. Where I'm not going to just act like you may not know what OnlyFans is. But it's a site where you can pay to see people naked or just see people just commit sexual acts for a subscription fee, right? You know what I'm saying? I always just want you to always think like, is this going to glorify God when you're choosing to do whatever you're going to do? Because at the end of the day, people only do that because they know it's going to make a lot of money. That's all they're doing it for, is because it's gonna make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? When you stay away from, because I've done it before. I've done businesses where I'm just doing it just for the money, and I always burnt out, and I always realized like that wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? And now that I finally got to a point of I'm doing something because I feel like this is purposeful. I know that I can help people and I want to help people. This feels way more organic and it feels way more purposeful. And that's all I'm trying to help people with. And I hope you go with this journey with me, because at the end of the day, I want to help you, and I hope you can help me by just keep tuning in, liking, subscribing. And you know what I'm saying? I just thank you for even taking your time to watch this video, if you watch it all the way through. Once again, this is your boy Raylo. This is the Biblical Blueprint. And yeah, man, we're out of here.